The ASUS Vivobook line of laptops are generally a very easy recommendation for me. They're reliable, they're good looking, and more importantly, they're value for money propositions across different price points, by the way. The last Snapdragon based Vivobook that we had tested here at Trakin English was back in 2024, and that was the S15 with the Snapdragon X Elite. And now ASUS is back yet again with another Vivobook, and that is the Vivobook S16 OLED, and this one comes with the entry-line Snapdragon X chip. And I was genuinely excited to test out this machine primarily because Snapdragon X clearly indicates that you're gonna get good performance at a very good price, and that's also true for the Vivobook S16. And we've tested it across multiple different parameters, so if you want to know all the lowdown on the S16 OLED, stay tuned with me. If you're watching me for the first time, I'm Arshad. This is Trakin English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Now, right out of the box, the Vivobook S16 OLED actually makes a very solid impression. And that's primarily because of this really cool color that it comes in. This color is called the BFF Peachy color, which is kind of a cool name. And I kind of like the color as well. It's very unique. If you want to stand out, this is one good color to consider. Apart from that, you also do get two other colors. You get the standard gray and you get the salvia green as well. So yeah, a bunch of funky colors which makes it stand out. The other reason why it makes an impression is that it's an Ultrabook with a very large display, a 16-inch display, but it's still thin and light. So at its thickest point, it measures about 15.9 millimeters and it weighs only 1.74 kilograms. Of course, since this is an ASUS machine, it's not going to cheap out on the materials. So what you get is a premium grade metal build. You also get a CNC engraved logo, and more importantly, you get a military standard 8108 certification, which is always reassuring to have. So for a large Ultrabook, it's sturdy, it's thin, it's light, it's well put together, it looks funky, and generally pretty portable. But the main highlight of the machine is once you open the laptop and look at the display, because this is an ASUS Lumina OLED display, and it is impressive. Generally, ASUS OLED displays have been impressive, and that continues with the Vivobook S16 as well. So with this display, what you get is a 16:10 aspect ratio, WUXGA resolution, which is basically 1920 by 1200, and an 89% screen to body ratio. And considering this is an OLED panel and ASUS tunes its OLED panels really well, the color reproduction has been fantastic in our testing at least, and you get 95% DCI-P3 color gamut coverage as well. Plus, there's also TUV Rheinland certification for eye comfort, which is good, but the one thing that I was slightly disappointed by was the fact that it's not a high refresh rate display, so it's a 60 Hz panel, so you do not get 90 Hz or 120 Hz. Now, as for the brightness, it goes up to 300 nits, which is fine enough for indoor use, but this means that you do not get HDR support. And in any case, most of the laptops in this price range are in the 300 nit mark. Regardless, if you do take this outdoors, sunlight eligibility could be a bit of an issue. That said, I'm still impressed by the fact that it's an OLED panel, because generally, if you get such a large display in this price range, then you have to contend with IPS LCD, which is not a problem here. And therefore, watching content, watching movies, and generally for accurate colors, this display impresses. Alright, now let's talk about the performance, and of course, the Snapdragon X is inside this laptop, and this is the Snapdragon X1 26100 with 8 cores and 8 threads and clocked up to 2.97 GHz. You also get 16 gigs of LPDDR5 8448 mega transfers per second RAM, and it's paired with a 512 GB Gen 4 SSD, both of which are non-upgradable. However, the major advantage for Snapdragon X is the AI performance at your disposal with the Hexagon NPU, which has up to 45 TOPS of power. So since this is an AI PC, you also do get Copilot Plus features out of the box. For example, you get Windows Studio effects for better video calls. You also get live captions, Windows Recall, and a whole host of other AI features. And of course, ASUS's very own AI features like Story Cube and my ASUS fan profiles are all available here, and that does help in performance because the Snapdragon X inside this machine runs circles around the Intel Core Ultra 5 210H, which actually operates at 115 watt TDP, and it even beats out CPUs like this Ryzen 5 7535HS. And in daily usage, if you look at it, the Vivobook S16 is snappy. Apps open really fast, multitasking is super smooth, and if you want to run a few AI models locally, you can do that as well. All of this without straining the system, mind you. I mean, the Snapdragon X is not well suited for gaming, not just because it's not powerful enough, but also because there are not many games that are currently available for Snapdragon X. But if you have creative and official workloads or professional workloads, then they should handle it absolutely fine. Now, the one area where the Vivobook S16 shines, and generally ARM-based laptops shine is in the battery performance. Now, this one has a 70 watt-hour battery inside, and ASUS is claiming 32 hours of continuous video playback. And in our testing, we are getting up to 10 hours of usage before the battery dies. And once the battery drains out, you don't have to worry about fast charging the laptop because you do get a 65-watt USB PD charger inside the box, which can of course charge your other devices as well, and of course this laptop pretty quickly. Now, talking about connectivity and ports, this is where ASUS has been really thoughtful, because despite being an Ultrabook, you get what you generally want from a laptop. Basically, you have two USB 4 Type-C ports with up to 40 gigabits of bandwidth and external 4K display support. You also get two USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A ports. There's one HDMI 2.1 port and one 3.5mm audio jack. Of course, the one thing that is missing is a SD card reader, which would have actually made it like a complete laptop in terms of I/O, but still for an Ultrabook, this is pretty good. And for wireless connectivity, you get support for Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3, so no compromises here either. Now, the keyboard on the Vivobook S16 OLED is ASUS's very own ErgoSense backlit keyboard, and this actually does offer a good typing experience. It's got a good key travel, and of course this laptop also comes with a Copilot key, which of course a lot of people do find useful. My only gripe with this keyboard is the fact that it has those tiny arrow keys, and for my pudgy fingers, not a lot of fun. Now, the touchpad itself is pretty large, and it is also generally smooth for, moving the cursor around. It's actually very smooth, but it's a plastic touchpad. If they had given a glass touchpad, it would have been an even better experience. But I do like the fact that you do get ASUS's smart gestures with the keyboard itself, which means that you can scrub through a video, or you can even increase and decrease the volume directly from the touchpad. Now, as for the audio performance, you do get bottom firing speakers, and it is Dolby Atmos certified as well. If you're watching Netflix and YouTube videos, it's plenty loud, and it's got a decent amount of bass as well. In fact, why don't you take a listen to it for yourself and let me know what you guys think. Now, video calls are actually handled by a full HD, IR webcam. Now, this webcam also supports the Windows Hello Face unlock. You also get features like background blur and auto framing thanks to Windows Studio effects. And more importantly, there's also a privacy shutter. Now, the Vivobook S16 OLED is running Windows 11 Home, and it comes with lifetime free MS Office Home 2024 as well. That's not it. You also do get 100 GB of OneDrive storage for a year, which is useful. Alright, so where does the ASUS Vivobook S16 OLED, stand? Now, after using it, what we felt is that, first of all, see, you know it, I know it, the Vivobook is a very popular machine. A lot of students, a lot of corporate folks actually do use it, and we've seen it a lot outside in the real world as well. But these Vivobooks generally come with an Intel or an AMD processor. But with this Snapdragon X based Vivobook S16 OLED, this could be the shot in the arm that Snapdragon requires to put Snapdragon, processors in the hands of more people, especially in India. Now, this could be the vessel for it, this Vivobook S16 OLED. And the reason for that is plain and simple. You get Snapdragon X inside a thin and light premium build with an OLED display, all-day battery life, great port selection, and solid AI-driven performance as well. All of this for a very reasonable price of 65,990. And this price is the maximum retail price that I'm talking about. So you could actually get it for lower if you, look out for good deals. So do you guys think that could be true? Could this be the most important Snapdragon X laptop to come out in India? Let me know in the comments. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.